In other news, President-elect Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. received ambassadors from Singapore, the United Kingdom, France, and the European Union during separate courtesy calls at the BBM headquarters in Mandaluyong City. First to visit Marcos was Gerard Ho, Singapore ambassador to the Philippines, at around 9 a.m., followed shortly by Ambassador Lori Buffels of the United Kingdom. Take a look.
What investors are looking at in the Philippines obviously are areas where this administration has worked on in terms of the tax incentives, the tax structures, the passage of the Public Service Act, the Retail Trade Act, the ease of doing business. These are all things that would provide comfort to investors when they come here, and we hope to see not only these things continuing, but as well as maybe making even further progress to make the Philippines a more attractive investment opportunity.
I'm delighted that I've just come out of a meeting with the President-elect, which was really useful, very informative and very warm. I was able to set out that the UK already has a really strong bilateral relationship with the Philippines, and indeed strong friendship between our two countries and between our peoples. For example, as you know, the President-elect is very focused on the economy and boosting the economy after the pandemic, and we were able to discuss what the UK has been doing in that space and what more we will do to support businesses, to support trade, support investments and infrastructure in particular. We spoke about energy and climate change and the UK's support in that space, in particular on energy transition but also on adaptation. We spoke about the peace process in Mindanao. We spoke about human rights and media freedom. And we spoke about the broad range of areas of mutual interest for our countries. And I said that I was very much looking forward to working with the next administration.
And French Ambassador Michel Boucaud. Both sides began by congratulating each other for the win of the President-elect and for Emmanuel Macron's re-election as president, despite a campaign concurrent with the conflict in Ukraine. Both sides also discussed the effects and impacts of the said conflict on oil, energy, and food security. President-elect Marcos cited France as a model for the PH in terms of energy sourcing and generation. Both sides discussed the economy and the plans in this area of the incoming administration. Some of the prospective activities to commemorate 75 years of Philippine-France relations were also discussed, and briefly discussed towards the end of the meeting with the Indo-Pacific area and strategy, as well as issues of overseas Filipinos in France.
At around 11 in the morning, European Union Ambassador Luc Véran also paid a visit, followed by Ambassador Michel Boucaud of France, who arrived at about 12 noon. The France and EU ambassadors declined media interviews due to prior commitments. Ambassadors from France and EU did not allow media because of those prior commitments. Last week, Marcos received the United States Charge d'Affaires and the ambassadors from Japan, South Korea, and India during separate meetings at BBM headquarters in Mandaluyong City. The envoys also assured Marcos of their willingness to provide necessary assistance to hasten the country's recovery from the ill effects of the pandemic.